Vasilisa was 21 years old and had spent her entire childhood in an orphanage, knowing nothing about her parents. Her caretaker, Irina Markovna, told her that she was brought to the shelter's door as a baby in diapers and a basket, after which her parents disappeared, and nothing was known about her name or surname. There were different kids in the orphanage, and Vasilisa struggled to establish relationships with them, as they were either mischievous or clingy. Therefore, she couldn't boast about having friends. There was fierce competition for the attention of the adults among the children, and they often argued and even fought. Irina Markovna tried to give everyone equal attention, engaged them in group games, and fostered team spirit, but it didn't always succeed. After reaching adulthood, Vasilisa maintained contact with her beloved caretaker and received assistance from her. The elderly woman helped her secure an apartment and actively assisted in finding employment because Vasilisa now had to take care of herself independently. Employers were reluctant to hire an orphan who knew little about the modern world, fearing that she would need a lot of time to adapt. On her fifth attempt, Vasilisa managed to find work as a waitress in a decent restaurant. She was surprised to learn that the job vacancy was advertised in a regular newspaper in such an upscale establishment. She was unaware of the high turnover rate in the restaurant, and how some new employees couldn't endure the conditions for more than 2 weeks. But Vasilisa was enthusiastic about being accepted for the job. However, on her first day at the new place, she noticed the pitfalls of the profession. The manager, Oleg, was unpleasant and quarrelsome, demanding unquestioning obedience and discipline from the staff. He fined employees for the slightest infractions, whether it was being a couple of minutes late, untidy appearance, appearing drowsy, or carelessly spoken words. He confiscated the tips earned by the waitstaff, considering that they were already paid enough. Oleg kept the money in a special locked briefcase that he carried with him. He was greedy and guarded the restaurant's finances as if he were the owner, holding on to every penny. The man was a compulsive gambler and used the stolen money to gamble in casinos. But he couldn't part with his own funds because his strict spouse would discover his gambling habits and create a huge scandal. Additionally, Oleg adhered to the principle that the customer is always right and punished employees for any improper or disrespectful behavior towards restaurant guests, even if all arguments in their defense were futile. Vasilisa learned from her new colleagues that the manager had fired her predecessor because she couldn't tolerate the rudeness of a regular, flamboyant visitor. Vasilisa burst into tears and, in anger, decided to remove her apron and go home. However, the man deliberately poured juice on her to demonstrate his superiority and humiliate her in front of everyone present. The guest was drunk, and as a result, his manners completely vanished. Seeing such a scene, Oleg sided with the guest and even arrogantly encouraged such treatment of the employee. But there were also pleasant moments in the restaurant. For example, Vasilisa got to know Maxim, a 25-year-old guy who worked in the kitchen. He helped the chefs with minor tasks, cleaned vegetables, chopped them, and sometimes stood at the sink to wash a pile of dirty dishes. "I dream of becoming a chef," Maxim confessed with a modest smile. "But for now, I have to endure this demeaning work. I don't see anything wrong with it, but Oleg, he won't let me advance. Although I cook quite well, I studied at culinary college and even completed additional courses. But for him, it's just pieces of paper, educational documents. He thinks I'm too young to be a professional." Nonsense, your abilities were confirmed by the chefs and instructors, and that one, What does she know about it? She exclaimed. The girl whispered. Be quiet. Don't talk like that about him, otherwise, he'll report it quickly. And we have our own informants in the team, so be careful with your words, her friend warned and returned to work. I'm glad you're here. I blush too, Vasilisa said. Through regular conversations with her friend, Vasilisa learned that Maxim lived with his sick mother, and his small salary went towards her treatment. She felt sorry for him as well as the other colleagues, although no one else showed either sympathy or disdain for the girl. But they didn't pity her either because she was different from the rest. The restaurant staff hadn't seen such resilient newcomers in a long time. Over the years in the orphanage, Vasilisa had seen a lot, so she possessed great patience and resilience. These qualities and her character didn't sit well with Oleg. That's why he made a bet with the head chef, betting a significant amount that the girl wouldn't last a month. One evening, a somewhat intoxicated Dmitry Drozdov, a local deputy who had earned a bad reputation among the staff of various establishments, showed up at the restaurant. The waitresses immediately averted their gazes. I understand that the show is about to begin, Vasilisa thought. The thing was, this very man had spilled juice on the fired Vita and Vasilisa, the waitress. He behaved rudely and always got away with it. To the relief of the others, it fell on Vasilisa to serve the deputies for the entire evening. Oleg took care of that, wanting to break the quiet but defiant employee. In his usual manner, Drozdov, noticing the new face, began to mock the girl. A fresh face, so charming. But are you sure being a waitress is what you need? You would have quickly succeeded in a different business and earned more. The man laughed obscenely. What would you like to order? We have updated our menu. I recommend trying our new items. Vasilisa calmly spoke with a smile. Let the lewd jokes of a drunk guest go in one ear and out the other, he praised. I mean you. Looks can be deceiving. I liked your predecessor more. At least she talked to me, but she was also a fiery, not bad. You'll get used to it. Drozdov laughed and patted the girl on the back. She immediately recoiled. Take the order. The man latched onto her, demanding that she tell him about each type of wine listed in the menu so that he could choose a suitable one. After getting rid of the unpleasant guest, Vasilisa hurried to the kitchen to relay the order to the chefs. Drozdov the drunk called the girl several more times for trivial requests, making her run back and forth, questioning her about the composition of the dishes and her past, her plans for life. It was impossible to please him. Vasilisa held on with all her strength. She was already exhausted and couldn't bring herself to smile at this arrogant man as the restaurant rules required. Oleg, observing the new employee's torment, rubbed his hands with glee. Video for the guests and his business was taken care of. Drozdov was doing poorly, so he liked to visit various establishments and take out his frustrations on the staff to blow off steam. Because they couldn't argue with him or else they risked losing their jobs. How he irritates me, a frustrated Maxim hissed in the kitchen, watching Vasilisa struggle while carrying out Drozdov's demands. She's wasting her time with him. The head chef stopped him. Don't be a hero. Here, what do you need? Will that make you happy? You'll ruin your life if you even lay a finger on that bug. Unpleasant, but what can you do? She'll figure it out on her own. She's not a child anymore. I'm surprised she hasn't run away in tears through the back door. Well done, girl, he said, witnessing Vasilisa's struggles and exhaustion from serving Drozdov. Suddenly, she collapsed right before his eyes. She turned pale, struggled to breathe, and fell from her chair to the floor. The client wheezed and gasped for air, like a fish thrown on the shore. Oleg was stunned. "You'll pay for this." He didn't move, not knowing what to do. The other patrons jumped up from their seats. Women shrieked. Panic ensued, but the girl remained calm. She unbuttoned the tight collar of the deputy's shirt and lifted his head to help him breathe easier. Vasilisa suspected that the man had an allergy, possibly to some of the ingredients in the dishes he consumed indiscriminately that evening. She had seen something similar in an orphanage when one of the children was stung by a wasp, and its venom triggered an allergic reaction. That incident had stuck in Vasilisa's memory, and she knew exactly how to alleviate Drozdov's suffering. Making sure he could breathe, the girl took her phone out of the apron pocket and called for an ambulance. "You're very brave," the doctor said to the girl when they arrived, and Drozdov was loaded onto the stretcher and taken away in the ambulance. "Thank you," Vasilisa said, feeling disoriented. Only now did she realize what had happened. When the man became ill, she didn't hesitate about her actions, the danger, or the consequences. But her colleagues didn't appreciate her heroism. Everyone knew that for Oleg, it was another opportunity to unleash his anger on the newcomer. After the stress he experienced, he couldn't do anything in that critical situation and failed as a manager. "You idiot! Why did you interfere?" the man shouted when he regained his composure and realized the danger of the situation. "Do you know who he is? He's a deputy. They'll hold us responsible if anything happens to him. Did I do the right thing? He would have suffocated if I hadn't intervened. And you think I should have stood there and watched?" Vasilisa protested, adrenaline coursing through her veins, causing her to forget about caution. "I don't need such saviors for free. Did he promise you something? The incident happened during your shift. Everything used to be fine with him. He could drink our entire alcohol supply, but this was the first time he acted like this. You were supposed to calm him down, make him nervous. So what do we do now? I'll be the one to blame, and it's all because of your favoritism. So get out of here, so I never have to see you again." "Why? It's not fair," Vasilisa protested, but her colleagues patted her on the shoulder, implying that she couldn't argue with Oleg. She put him in an awkward position, standing out when he faltered, and a man like him won't forgive that. Vasilisa returned home in tears. In just one evening, she had experienced so many emotions. She was angry and upset, feeling sad about being accused of greed and thoughtlessness. And although she had saved someone's life when everyone froze in fear, the girl spent the whole day in tears, pitying herself and pouring out her pain. Meanwhile, she searched for a new job because she had no money and she needed something to survive. Vasilisa didn't expect the scoundrel Drozdov to kneel before her and express gratitude. The man she had saved didn't even acknowledge her, didn't call or send anyone to express appreciation for pulling him back from the brink of death. During lunch, a stranger rang Vasilisa's apartment doorbell. "Hello," a middle-aged man stood before her in expensive yet simple clothing. He didn't like to flaunt his wealth. "Good afternoon. How can I help you?" Vasilisa asked, not expecting anyone. "My name is Valerie. I recently opened my own restaurant and would like to offer you a job as a waitress." "Come in," the apartment owner replied and led the guest to the kitchen for a cup of tea. They discussed the man's offer. It turned out that someone among the visitors of the restaurant where she had worked had recorded the moment when she provided aid to the suffocating official on their phone. The video was uploaded to the internet and quickly went viral, accumulating thousands of views. Now, Vasilisa had become a local celebrity. I need precisely such compassionate employees. The working conditions and compensation are suitable. I won't mistreat you. I'm assembling a young team. The only thing missing is another chef for dinner, Valerie explained, showing Vasilisa his restaurant's page on social media. I happen to know a young chef. I'll give you his contact information. The girl became enthusiastic. I can imagine how happy Maxim will be to receive a call. Soon, Vasilisa and Maxim became part of a new close-knit team working at Valerie's restaurant. Drozdov was demoted at work because his terrible behavior at the restaurant had also become public knowledge. Oleg faced the wrath of the restaurant owner, as he had constantly terrorized the staff, accumulating numerous complaints. Now he occupied Maxim's former position and worked in the kitchen, assisting the chefs. The establishment's owner scolded him for mistreating Vasilisa, who appeared to be a valuable asset to their competitor. Working side by side, Vasilisa and Maxim grew closer and started dating. The whole team congratulated them, even ordering a cake, wishing them happiness in the future and their marriage. Valerie didn't mind a workplace romance and even supported the couple. For him, the most important thing was a peaceful atmosphere in the team and satisfied customers who left well-fed and content. If you enjoyed the story, please support me with a thumbs up. And to stay updated on the release of new interesting stories, click the bell button. Wishing you all the best.